In a suit involving President Donald Trump in his own personal private capacity against the IRS, a settlement has been reached. In fact, the settlement is between Trump and the Department of Justice, where Trump will be allowed to divert $1.8 billion in taxpayer money toward a slush fund meant to be awarded to individuals who are victims of lawfare under the Biden administration. So the fund, called the Anti-Weaponization Fund, will be used to pay out money to those deemed victims of unfair prosecution and lawfare by the Biden administration. So on Monday, Trump reached this settlement again with the DOJ. He was suing the IRS for what I think is one of the maybe only legitimate reasons to sue the IRS in your personal capacity. So his tax releases, his tax filings were leaked, right? And so that's not okay. Nobody would like it if the IRS leaked their tax returns. So he sued for that. And so the settlement also folds in two other pending claims that Trump has made against the federal government, including in regard to the Mar-a-Lago claim, where he obviously was in possession of highly classified documents that he wasn't supposed to be in possession of, and the Russia collusion hoax. Now that the Justice Department has reached the agreement with Trump, the administration will provide the Treasury Department with information needed to make the payment to the new settlement fund within 60 days. No involvement from Congress, no approvals from Congress whatsoever. This is the federal government, Trump suing the federal government, or his federal government, and them reaching a deal that he finds very favorable to himself and to his supporters. So I'll get to those details in just a minute. Todd Blanche, who's the acting attorney general, will assemble a team of 5 members to run this fund, and Trump can boot any of these people if he wants to, and victims can submit claims up until December 1st of 2028. But there are so many red flags, aside from the fact that it's almost $2 billion in US taxpayer money that's going to be diverted to a slush fund for Trump and his cronies. So there's absolutely no judicial review involved in determining who the money goes to.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty big deal. Decisions cannot be appealed. Any claimants and the amount of money they're awarded will remain anonymous, so no transparency. This is our money, this is American taxpayer money. No transparency, no judicial review process. The settlement reads, on a quarterly basis or otherwise directed by the Attorney General, the Anti-Weaponization Fund shall provide to the Attorney General a confidential written report that includes the name and address of each claimant who has received any relief, and if so, nature of such relief. Anyone who claims that they've been targeted by the government through the use of lawfare or weaponization can apply for this money. And if you're wondering, like, what does lawfare, victim of lawfare mean? Here's how it's kind of defined in this agreement. Claims representative of the sustained use of the levers of government power by Democrat elected officials, political and career federal employees, contractors, and agents in order to target individuals, groups, and entities for improper and unlawful political, personal, and/or ideological reasons. So some examples include January 6 defendants, which we should talk about in greater detail, because while some people might have been unfairly treated, fact of the matter is, plenty of people were not unfairly treated. Many of them, were pardoned by Trump and then went on to carry out some of the most vicious crimes you can imagine, including murder in some cases, child sex abuse in other cases, but okay. Right-wing activists, anyone in the government who considers themselves targeted unfairly by the Democrats. There is a stipulation for those who apply and receive money from the fund. A claimant who does receive that money must forego all other relief, including judicial relief, whether previously asserted or not. So in other words, if you take the money, you are not able to file a suit for the same purposes again in the future. And if you've been lowballed by the amount that you've been awarded by the slush fund, too bad, it is what it is, you took the money, and even if you could have gotten more by filing a proper lawsuit against like the federal government, doesn't matter.
But how would they know? Because it's anonymous. then you could just file a suit anyway, because nobody knows who's getting the money. So look, there are 4 layers of outrage here in what I think is actually one of the worst cases of corruption of my lifetime.
There's an update. Can I just give you the update? Yeah. I'm sorry, Cenk, but this just developed and it's important to know. So the House Rules Committee shot down an amendment that would have prevented President Donald Trump's administration from doling out taxpayer money to people criminally charged in connection with the Capitol riot. So the money will absolutely apply to January 6ers. So go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, it's our money, right? So if Trump wants to help his friends who broke in and tried to steal an election and did it through violence, that's his business, not our business. But they're gonna literally take it out of your pocket and give it to guys who attack cops. That's just, so that's point 1. Yeah. Point 2 is, the number is outrageous. Anna's right, somebody leaks your IRS records, IRS responsible. Yeah, I get it, you want compensation. $100,000 is a lot of money.
I'd take the 100,000.
Yes, $375,000 would be an amazing. Please leak my records if I'm gonna get $375,000, right? 1.776 billion, not million, billion. No, that's a robbery. Then, but the 2 that are the most egregious are, you're not allowed to know who's getting the money. It's anonymous, and you're not allowed to know how much. So he could just literally give it to his family. He could give it to his allies, his staff. And sorry, you can never find out. And hey, January 6th rando, you got $12. Eric Trump's best friend got $211 million, which he then spent on the Trump family. Too bad, you'll never find out, right? And they robbed us to give it to them. But I think that maybe the worst part of it is, this is him saying, if you do violence for me, not only will I make sure that you never suffer any consequences for your criminal actions, I'll break you out of jail like I'm a villain in Batman. And then on top of that, I'll pay you for the violence you did to try to end our democracy and steal the election for me. So that is financing your own brown shirts.
I mean, Trump made a deal with himself, essentially, right? This is his federal government, this is his administration. So he sued his administration and his administration came back and gave him what he wanted. And the outcome of it is outrageous. And the outcome of the suit is so controversial that the Treasury Department's top lawyer, who was appointed by Trump, has quit over it. So there isn't much reporting on it. He didn't release a statement, but
I mean, this is the same family and president who took $59 million for people to give them phones, and they never. And it's like, you know what? You gave us $59 million. We're not gonna give you that phone. It
just won't give it to
you. Which honestly, I have to say, I have to blame the people as like, would you trust actually? Like, why would you buy a Trump phone? That's so first of all, half of this on you. But it's like, yeah, I'm gonna take your money. I don't have to give it back. I don't have to give you a product. And they actually said in a statement, giving us the money doesn't mean that you're gonna get your phone, and doesn't mean that you're gonna get your money back. What is this?
I don't recognize the country I live in right now. It's always insane.
It was always there, but like we were.
It's just more brazen now. The thing about Trump is he lacks any and all sophistication when it comes to concealing bad acts. Yeah. He just likes to do it out in the front, like out in the open.
Once he asked like twice, like, do you think about the economic suffering of Americans? Like,
no, I never think about that.
Cross my mind. It doesn't cross my mind. No, I don't care.
Yeah, because that's who he is, and so. What did they say? The Hannity and Fox News while Obama was president. Obama phones. A thing that was largely made up.
And then, those were better times.
And now Trump actually does Trump phones. It's not made up. And then
he took actual money.
Yeah, and
$59 million.
He literally robs his own supporters of $59 million. They're like, no, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So look, back to January 6th. If you attended this speech but did not go to the Capitol. Yeah. No, you just attended the speech. It's not that you're totally fine.
And you were arrested. And
if you were arrested, I don't think anybody at the speech was arrested. But if you were, then that's definitely wrong.
Well, there were people who, after the break-in in the Capitol happened, there were people who, wandered into the Capitol building. They didn't cause any havoc, and then they walked out. But since they were captured on footage, later they were arrested too. And honestly, you have to be able to differentiate between the people who broke into the Capitol, who were violent, who actually assaulted Capitol police officers and things. You got to separate them from people who, attended the speech and then later walked into the Capitol and were just filmed there. By the way, why wasn't Nick Fuentes arrested? Nick Fuentes is on camera on a bullhorn ordering people what to do and where to go. And it's like, how is that guy not arrested. It's weird.
No, that's definitely weird. So look, that's exactly where I'm going. So you attended a speech, didn't even go to the Capitol. Of course you didn't do anything wrong. Everybody can go to a speech. But you go in and you attack the cops or you broke into the Capitol. Don't tell me you're a victim. That doesn't make any sense. Now let's do the thing that I mean, I don't know if we overdo it, but we got to do it just to like shake you out of the hypocrisy, and not you, the viewer, but the government of Washington and all that. So if it was a riot by black folks and they broke into the Capitol and they were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence," and then do you think that Trump and the Republicans would feel as generous and charitable? You know what? Let's pardon them all. And you know what? Let's give them money on top for breaking into the Capitol and threatening to murder the people inside. Now take out black folks, put in Muslims. Thousands of Muslims gather, they raid the Capitol, they threaten to hang the legislators. I mean, we'd be talking about capital offenses, right? We'd be talking about prison for life. All of them would be terrorists.
Mass deportation.
And if you came in afterwards and wandered around, but you weren't part of the original break-in, no, they'd send you to Guantanamo Bay. So you can say they wouldn't, but you know they would. Even if you're a Republican, you know that, right? Yeah. So we're not looking to target anyone that didn't do it. But if you actually did do the violence, no, you shouldn't have. That's not a thing you should be paid for.
I feel like I've been pretty consistent when it comes to issues of crime. If someone has committed a crime, I would like consequences. In all of the cases where they've been convicted, they've been found guilty of doing the thing, right? And that applies to local laws being broken, right? We've been talking about the kind of libertarian approach that some progressives have taken when it comes to issues of crime. I don't think that's right. I also don't think it's right when there's like a slush fund using taxpayer money in an incredibly non-transparent way to reward people who broke the law. You know, so
yeah,
all right.
There should be consequences for one other group that's broken into the Capitol.
I agree.
That's the Israeli lobby.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Israeli lobby, shall we?
Okay, before you go there, Anna, I got to do breaking news. So results are coming in on the Massey Galrine race in Kentucky, obviously very relevant. And oh boy, 48.6% reporting now. So that's a big number. And Galrine leads 54.4 to 45.6. So he's got about a 9-point lead there with about half the votes in. So that means Massey has to win the second half by about 18 points to catch him, which makes it pretty unlikely. It depends on where the votes are coming from. They come in at different times. Then there could be more pro-Massey districts or areas within that district, etc. But that is not good news. It looks like Israel is about to buy the entire Republican Party.
I mean, they've already done that.
Well, there was a tiny rebellion by Massey, and this will have quashed the rebellion.
And he's actually one of the very few people who's very, very adamant about the Epstein files.
Yes, that's why he's a target by Trump and his cronies. Well,
and by Israel, because obviously Israel did it.
It's a $20 million message.
Yeah. To cover up the Epstein files, cover up all their crimes in America, cover up their corruption, and American media will immediately help them. If Galrine wins today, I guarantee you everyone in mainstream media, in hindsight, will say, oh, it had nothing to do with Israel. No, it was because he defied Trump, and it was the border bill, and it was this, and it was that, and anyone who says it was about Israel is an anti-Semite.
Anti-Semitic.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.